Greetings, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary. And I thought I'd pick up where I left off on the last video where I was talking about personality being a prison. And that might seem a little harsh. What I really meant is that your personality defines the limits of your experience, even more so the potential limits of your experience. But there's a lot of other factors at play as well. And to be honest, I think personality is really one of the hardest to change. And that's why I refer to it as a prison. It can be changed, but the sort of people that manage it are like the people that are historically famous, like Alexander the Great or something like that. Napoleon. Big men living big lives, big men and women, I should say, living big lives that, are remembered for being extraordinary. So that's the kind of people that can actually modify their existing personality and make a change. As a matter of fact, if you've ever read the book by Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment, that's essentially what that book is about. That guy ended up killing a lady because he wanted to be a great person, but he wasn't able to do it without being plagued by enormous waves of guilt. So he didn't manage it. His rationale was that great people could do things like that, and he couldn't. He ended up turning himself in and going to prison. So. Not to give anything away, it's a psychological. I would recommend you read it. Listen to the audiobook if you don't have time to read it, but great book. Anyway, so there are a lot of other things, though, that we've touched on this channel that can be way more easy to change and that will really affect your life in a deep, deep way. Especially for INFJs, I think, because we have access to a lot of powers and insights that, not to sound egotistical or anything, but a lot of other types don't have access to. And so we touched on the broadcast we had on this channel, Don't Believe Anything. Well, that's a big one, because anything that and that comes after your personality level, right? So your next thing now that's really going to define who you are and what you can experience, and more so what you can actually realize if in the way of goals and dreams, is what you believe. First of all, and I touched on it in the last video where I said, hey, if you say you really want to own a home, but you don't see the ways or means to ever be able to do it, so you actually are harboring a belief that you cannot. I'm not saying that merely changing this belief alone will mean that you get this home that you desire, but it's going to be absolutely impossible for you to achieve that goal if you don't modify your belief. You have to at least believe that it's possible to achieve. You don't have to know how, you don't have to know when. This is how manifesting works. And I'm not the greatest expert at manifesting, but I've got a pretty nice life here in the temple and on my volcanic island. Yes, it's volcanic, but I am a dragon, so I'm somewhat acclimated to that. And I got no complaints. There's lots of other things that could be better, nicer, greater, but for the most part, I have worked my way into a decent situation. And I do own this temple, and it's a good thing. Well, it's Apollo's temple, but, it's mine as long as I'm here. How about that? Anyway, so really examine the beliefs. And then, the beliefs that you've adopted and accepted, those are the easiest ones to go after. The ones you really got to root out of your psyche are the ones that were implanted into you when you were young. And those are a lot more difficult to root out because in many ways they're invisible to you because they've just been conditioning you from a time before you had the ability to say, no, I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that. Whatever. So if there are things you want to do and you find that life isn't actually working out that well, start looking at those beliefs. You don't need to believe anything. And you will, of course, be entertaining a lot of beliefs, and that's what you want to do. Entertain a belief, wear it very lightly, like you would wear a jacket. You can take a jacket on or take it off if it starts getting warm. Not a big deal. It's not like it's a permanent part of your skin. But these deeply held beliefs, like I was talking about, they're like skin level. You can't, very difficult to, actually not that difficult to extract once you have an awareness of them. So what I would say is feed that idea into the abyss, as you're ruminating one day. Let the introverted intuition solve these problems for you. Just ask, ask the void. What beliefs am I harboring that are limiting, that are keeping me down, that I could change or modify? And so I don't, like I've said many times here, I don't really believe anything except that I exist. And after that, though, I entertain a lot of beliefs. I entertain beliefs in reincarnation. I entertain a belief that I'm an INFJ. I entertain beliefs about the existence of a deity. I am entertaining all kinds of beliefs all the time. But again, they're like a suit that you put on and you take off. And that's valuable. That's the powerful use of belief. Now, after belief, we have another one, and it's a big deal. And that's the things you're afraid of. Those are going to automatically limit your existence in ways that are where you'd be objective about it, where you're able to zoom out and really look at it. You would see that the real effects of harboring any fears are devastating. Absolutely. And not only that, but the more afraid you are of something, the more likely it is to be brought into existence, because you're feeding it a lot of your personal energy and power. And the energy goes where attention flows, right? That's an old saw, but it's very true, and you really want to watch out for that. So your personality, yes, it does limit you in one hand. On the other hand, I believe the universe gave us this personality for a reason. I believe as INFJs we have a job to do, and it's unique to us. And that's another thing you can do in your spare time. You just ask the universe, like, what is it that you would like me to do? What do you think I could be doing that I'm not doing now? I think that would be, if you could actually talk to God or the universe or whatever you want to say and ask it just one question, that would be a great one to ask, don't you think? Right? What should I be doing that I'm not doing now? And that would be extremely fruitful, even if you didn't get an answer. I haven't gotten an answer, but I do have a feeling about it, and the feeling is that as an INFJ, I've been born a certain way. I'm able to communicate. I'm able to bring ideas from places that are dark to some people into the light and show them. I'm able to be empathetic with people while at the same time having a deep insight into the nature of reality. And I'm able to communicate, and that's one of the reasons for this channel, so I can communicate with you guys. I'm not saying I know more than you. I'm not saying I'm all-knowing. I'm just saying I have vision. I am a visionary, and so are you. We all are. That is, I believe, one of our proper functions as INFJs, is to see ahead, to see what's coming, and to start, making other people aware of it. And there will be people in your life that totally respect you, and they know how wise you are, and they know how much insight you are, and they know that your intuitions are generally correct, and those people might listen. It may not be everyone, but it'll be some. And how many people's lives do you need to change? If you just change one person's life, isn't that enough? Isn't that significant? And they go on to change someone else's life, so on and so forth. Anyway, that was just kind of a follow-up from our last video. I hope you're enjoying your INFJ-ness, and everything's going groovy, and hopefully you've got a few insights from me today that might help you manifest a few of your dreams. Until they come back in a couple days, keep on keeping on.